for leadership is about impact. If it's not impacting positively the people around you, then you should question if it's leadership or just a title.
Some people think that success has to do with you doing one big magnificent thing. However, it's you just doing the simple things over and over again.
Let the dream be so big that it is worth it, even when things are very, very tough. Because when it does happen, you'll be able to write the story and say, hey, you know what? And you'll be able to teach other people that are in that same situation that you were a couple of years ago, that you know what is the same.
Welcome to Negotiation Secrets. This is your number one podcast where we talk about everything negotiation for professional women and men. Normally, this podcast was done mainly for women, but men have benefited from it. So we have people from different parts of the world, different industries, different stages in their career come share their experience with us. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Esomeme, an internal medicine physician from the US. I teach women how to negotiate. And with me, I have someone who's very dear to me. His insight, his experience is just phenomenal. His name is Joe Osawaye. He's lived in multiple parts of the world, but currently he is in the UAE. Oga Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Of
And
course.
then leave this Oga part.
That was done on purpose, right? Because I met you at a TEDx talk where you were talking about titles and how titles really do not define who we are. It's more of
Correct.
what we do and the examples that we show. So once he said that, and he's Nigerian, I'm Nigerian. Once he said that, I said, you know what, I'm gonna keep calling him by titles just to be troublesome. But yes, do you mind telling my audience just a little bit about yourself?
Thank you again for having me. My name is Joe Osawaye. I'm Nigerian. I've been living in the UAE for the past 12 years. I run the number one Pan-African hospitality brand in the region called Kiza that has three verticals. You guys probably know the restaurant, but we have the atelier and we have the real estate side as well. Um, that's a brief about me. I'm sure when we start to talk,
Yes.
I'll start to unveil a little
The
different
difference,
parts of me.
yes.
Yeah.
And so you've started multiple businesses. So when you're about to start a business, what's the thought process? What goes into starting a business? And I'm asking not just well, one, out of curiosity, then number two, for someone who is about to start a business, what should be the thought process behind starting that business? Because you have one business with three different arms.
Correct. I think the first thing you need to think about is what problem are you trying to solve? That's number one. If
Yes.
you have a business that's not solving any problem, you might as well not open the business in the first place
Just go home.
because there's not going to be a market or nobody will patronize you.
Right.
So look for a problem to solve.
Yes.
Understand the market because the market is king.
Yes.
Once you've defined the problem, look for a creative, innovative solution,
Yeah.
study the market properly,
Yeah.
launch small, and then grow.
So I think I like that. Number one, have a problem that you're solving, and
Correct.
because some people have this idea that just feels great to them. They have this idea, but they're not thinking about what problem am I solving. So who is the person I'm solving this problem for? They
That is
just
ready to pay
there's
for that
you see,
solution.
that is ready to pay for it
Yeah.
because yes,
So a lot of us are gifted in different things, but
yes,
the ability to monetize your giftings is what
yeah.
is important.
But some people have this, they have some gifting or they have some skill set, and people take it for granted. I'll give you an example. And it was based on a conversation I had on this podcast. I had an artist come in here, and I had no idea this is a phenomenon that exists outside. They say when they have their artwork out there, people come in expecting to get a few pieces of art for free. And I was shocked. So how do you add value? Because you may art is very valuable, right? We That's not something we're arguing the value, and then people wanting the arts for free. That also means it has some degree of value. But how do you, if you have a service, how do you position that service in such a way that people will be willing to pay for it? Because that lady, she was really, I was surprised. She said, "Oh, when she goes for her exhibition, people say, oh, can I get that for free? Can I get that for free?" So how do you manage things like that?
You don't give it out for free. As simple as that.
You're right.
It's about positioning.
You're right.
It's about the price you're putting to the value you're bringing. As I
Yes.
say, money follows value.
It follows
If you're
value.
bringing that level of value based on creativity, nobody should underestimate it.
Correct.
Because you have the gift does not mean it's not special.
It
It's
does,
still special.
yes.
Yeah. So if you position yourself properly,
Yeah.
it will limit the amount of people that come to ask for free.
Yes.
Don't accept it.
So what I hear you say is you can have this gifting and you should if you have a gifting you should know the value, and that because people are asking for free does not mean you should give it for free. So if you
Correct.
give it for free, then it means it's on you.
It's on you, and you decide to give it for free.
That's a different switch, because the lady we were talking about it, and when I posted the video, so many other people reached out to me and they were like, thank you, for so many other artists,
Yes.
they were like, thank you for putting this out there. So it's not necessarily for us to fine, we need to talk about it so people know it's wrong, but it's also for the artists to
It's not
say,
100% wrong.
come on now.
It's not 100% wrong. If people are coming to ask you,
Yeah.
then you have the option to say no. But if you're using it as a strategic positioning, you've created an artwork that is going to be placed in a very strategic place.
Yeah.
You can give it for free. You know why? It's going to give a lot of eyeballs
Visibility.
visibility, and then
Yes.
going to say, hey,
But that's different. That's a strategy. That's strategic. It's
yeah,
not
but it's
just,
still giving it out for free. They're not paying for it.
yeah, they're
But you're
not,
positioning it in a place where there'll be
it will be seen.
visibility.
Yes,
Yes.
but technically that's still not free. Free means there is no value for you to there's no value as such that you're getting from it. You're giving the person as a gift.
Yeah.
The person takes it to their home or they gift it to
All
another
right.
person.
So
But that
don't do that. Simple, clear. Don't do
yes,
it.
don't do it. And if you
Yeah.
want to, give it for free, it should be strategic. Like you're giving some. Sometimes I go to places to speak, and I would speak for free, not because the words that I'm saying have no value, but because I know it's giving me more visibility.
Positioning.
Yes, it would give me an opportunity to make pitches on the stage. Then that's it.
Correct.
That's a different ball game entirely.
True.
You know. Okay. So let me ask you a question. I say this a lot on my podcast. I would say, let me ask you a question. And I'm thinking, why am I saying that? Because everyone who's here is for me to ask them questions, right? I should just like throw out my question out there.
You want to emphasize that it's a
It,
question.
it yes, it's to prepare you that something is coming. Yeah. So, what do you think about leadership? I'm asking you this on purpose because we talked about leadership. Your TED talk was about leadership. You talked about leadership, and I've seen how you operate with people who work for you. So, what's your definition of leadership?
My clear definition for leadership is about impact.
Ah,
If it's not impacting positively the people around you, then you should question if it's leadership or just a title. A lot of people carry titles. That was the topic of my TED talk.
yes.
Leadership without beyond titles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about the people around you. It's about you being their biggest cheerleader. It's you encouraging them. You creating an environment where they can all, with their different skills, flourish. I think that's what true leadership
Leadership,
is. Yes.
just having an
It's
impact.
some people call it servant leadership.
Yes, you're the second person because I batch record my podcast. I had a
Okay.
lady here earlier, and those were the exact words she used. Like, as a leader, you're there to serve,
Yeah.
and it still goes back to what you said earlier, where if you want to start a business, there should be a service that you're offering.
Correct. That the
So
market wants
correct.
and are ready to pay for
And
it.
they're, I like how you add the other part. It's not
It's
just
very
it's
important.
not just that you have a
Yes.
service. They
Correct.
want it, and they are ready to pay for it.
Yes.
So what has been your leadership journey? How have you grown over the years? How have you seen yourself navigate this process of leadership? How has your mindset changed over time?
As you get older, you start to understand life is about legacy and more of impact. When you're younger, you're chasing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think luckily for me, like with so many other people, um, I'm gifted with people. I I connect easily. And then from way back, I'd always known I'll never be a boss. I'll always be a leader. There's a difference.
What's the
So
difference?
the difference is the boss sits down and say, go do this, go do that, go do this. But the leader shows by example.
Yeah.
Clear difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always show by example. So a couple of years ago, I changed my title from CEO, Chief Executive Officer, to CIO, which is Chief Inspiration Officer.
Huh.
The reason why I did that was that I needed a daily, constant reminder that, the remaining part that I have in this journey of life
Is to
is to
inspire.
impact and to inspire people. So over the years, it has changed. Before, it was about executive position, it was this, that, but now it's not.
But
It's about emptying yourself into
self.
the next generation and creating the shoulder for them to climb on to see more than what you saw.
And so, as a leader, you build other leaders, right?
Correct.
So if you have, let's just create a hypothetical situation. There's a young person who is just who you are mentoring, who with little life experience. So what would be the first leadership skill apart from serving? Would be the first leadership skill you would ask them to develop over time?
Humility. So that you can learn.
Oh,
If you're not humble and you think you
you
know,
know everything.
it'll be difficult for you to learn. And
You
then the mentor would not be able to empty himself into the prodigy
yes,
or the mentee.
yeah. You have to be humble
You
enough
gotta be
to
humble.
know
You
you
must
don't know
know that
everything.
it's a marathon, not a dash.
Yeah,
Yes. So that whoever is your mentor
yeah.
would find it easy to always
To
guide
pour
you.
into you.
Correct.
Because some people are just so difficult. You're trying to mentor them and they're arguing.
Their mind is somewhere, they're on a tangent.
Yeah, they're arguing.
So the mentor just
Just
withdraws.
yes,
Yes. And it watches you
fall
till
into
you fall
fall,
and it says, okay, get up, let's start again.
and
And if you're ready, you start. If not, you fall again.
so you think pride is the greatest
The
roadblock
biggest
to
obstacle, pride.
hmm,
And it's not only for the young
it's for every
child that's just starting, or
yeah,
the young kid. Just it's for everybody. I always say your last success could be your biggest enemy
sure,
because it puffs you up.
yeah.
So make sure you're never successful.
Okay, so let me twist this. So your last success could be your biggest failure.
Correct.
So how can you do you think your biggest failure can now become your biggest success in future?
It could be.
Do you have any examples of that?
Oh, I failed so many times.
I like how
But
you say with this
yeah,
even cube was like
yeah, I failed so many times. That is what has made me who I am today.
yes.
That's why I can tell where the minds are on the minefield,
Yeah.
and I can share with other people that are just starting. If I hadn't failed, what would I be able to share?
Yeah.
So failing is part of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So one of my, I'll come back and ask you about specific stories because I like stories.
I like stories.
Yes,
Okay.
I had a friend. She went to she's an OBGYN, she's a gynecologist. So she went to a conference and there was this guy who had done so many robotic surgeries. She does robotics as well. But she said this guy has never had any complication in his surgeries. And he's the person who's done the most. And then she said he did a demo for them. He did the demo. There was really nothing phenomenal she saw happen during that procedure. And I told her, I said, you know the sad part about that? There's really nothing to learn from him. Because he can't tell you, when I failed, I realized this was the mistake that I made. Or this is what I do that I don't fail. Because let me just, for more context, when you go with robotics into the abdomen, there might be adhesions. You don't see it as much as when you cut open. So if he says, according to my friend, because I don't do robotic surgeries, my friend, she said, if he said, okay, you move your probe this way, you move it this way, that's how, he said he follows the books. And everyone does, they follow the books, but then there's still complications that you don't see that would happen. He's never had that. And I said, how can that guy help you? He really cannot help you because maybe he's lucky, maybe I don't know what the story is. So failure, I actually agree, failure is very important because once you fail, then I'll give you another true life example. When I was like three, four, I was in kindergarten because Nigeria kindergarten was like three, from when you're 3 years to 5 years old. And I would get on the swing, I would sit on the swing and I would fall. And it happened all the time. I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit on this swing anymore. I'm not going to do this thing. Then my teacher, he was like, oh, Gloria, why don't you get, I was like, no, I fell the last time. He was like, no, you need to get back on that swing. I was like, okay, I got on the swing. I fell. He said, you need to get back on the swing. I got on. And then he didn't tell me anything. I realized I was holding onto the swing too low. See, I can still remember till now. I was holding on too low. Then I realized that, okay, if I bring my hand up just a little bit, I'm not going to fall. Till tomorrow, I know how to get on the swing and I can teach anyone how not to fall because I made the mistake. I realized what my mistakes were or what my mistake was, and I could do better based off that. So, can you give us an example of mine was just like me falling from the swing when I was a child?
But that's very important.
It is important, but I want real life.
Yeah, so one thing I've just picked up from the two things you said,
Yeah.
the other guy knows what he's doing, but he can't teach. Because as you said, there are certain things he sees and he knows how to avoid,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know how to tell the other person to say, come, the reason why I'm not making these mistakes is because I do this first, do that, that. So maybe he knows it,
But
but
he
it's
just
not
cannot
everybody can
express
teach it,
it.
can
Yeah.
express it. So that's on that part.
Yeah.
Secondly, your example of holding the, most times you learn on the job
Yeah.
and from your own mistakes.
Yes.
It's very difficult to learn from other people's mistakes. They say, oh, it's the best thing is to learn from other people's mistakes. If everybody could learn from other people, there would be
There
no
won't be any
mistakes.
mistakes.
But we all have our different journeys that we
Correct.
will learn. We'll have to learn from.
Yes.
Um, I like to play golf, and I give a very good example of how I started to play golf
Okay.
and all the mistakes and all the frustrations.
Yeah.
Before I came this morning, I played 9 holes this morning in
Ooh.
one of the golf courses. Yeah. Um, when you go start to learn how to play golf, a lot of people don't ask you your age, your body structure, and all that. They've been playing golf since they
when
were
they were little.
kids.
Yeah.
And then they want you to play exactly like that when some of us, our waist are already fused. We're not as flexible as, yeah.
Years ago.
But
Yeah.
they're telling you to follow their pattern
Yeah.
when it's not possible.
Correct.
What they ought to tell you is to tell you what the rules of the games are
Yeah.
and help you make as many mistakes as possible so that you will correct yourself.
Yourself.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. Because we all, even though we go through the same road, we see different things.
We see differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I teach friends how to play golf, but in a different way.
What's different about yours?
I just make them play more and make as many mistakes as possible. And I say, you know what? Just understand what you need to do is to hit that little ball from here to there. How you do it, it doesn't matter because everybody has his own swing. You see some very interesting swings, and if you want to do the same, you're not able to do it because
Yeah.
that's their own style.
Right.
Yeah. So in the journey of life, sometimes you need to discover yourself and your way.
Yeah.
Because you cannot walk another man's path.
No,
It's
no,
not
you
possible.
can. Even
There
if you
too
guys are
many-
working on the
there
same
are too
road,
many
it's
permutations.
Oh.
Too many permutations.
Yes.
You know, which you must discover yourself. Even working with a mentor, it's not everything of the mentor you can become.
No.
You just take what.
Yeah.
That's why you can have so many mentors.
Mentors, yeah.
So that you take a little bit from everybody and form your own way of life. But every day we make mistakes.
You know.
But don't be scared to make
Don't be
mistakes
scared to make mistakes.
because it is in making those mistakes you learn. Nature shows us from when the child starts to crawl, starts to stand, starts to work, starts to run. If the child falls down several times and he refuses to, that's a problem.
That's game over.
That's game over. That's a major problem.
Yes.
So with that small example, it tells you that it's a journey.
Yes.
Trust the process, understand the process, and go with the process.
There was something you said that I really like. You talked about hitting the ball multiple times. So there is mastery that comes from doing something over and over and over and over. And some people think that success has to do with you doing one big magnificent thing. However, it's you just doing the simple things over and
Yeah.
over again.
Consistency. They say repetition is the key to learning.
Yes.
So the more you do it consistently, the
Yes.
better you get.
Yes.
For example, I'm sure the first day you started your podcast,
Yeah.
you were all over the place.
Oh my.
But now it's like second nature because you've done it consistently.
Yes.
That's the same thing with a whole lot of stuff
Yeah.
that you learn. You got to do it consistently to master it.
Yes.
Yeah. And in the process of trying to master it, you're going to fail so many times.
Of course.
If you get frustrated, then you lose that mastery.
Yes.
But if you continue knowing that it's a process, the
Yeah.
more I do it, the more consistent I am,
Yeah.
the more effort I put into this thing, the likelihood that you master it is there.
Yes, and there is no end to mastery.
Never.
So you can't be too good to improve. You can't say, oh well, now I've mastered this thing and that's
No.
it.
No. There's no end to it.
There's no end to mastery, which I
No.
think is just
Yeah.
great.
That's why I said earlier on that your last success could be your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because if you say, "Oh, I've mastered it," no, you need to constantly look at it, look at it, look at it, and find ways to improve.
Yeah.
That's why you have all these innovations and creativity. I
Yes.
remember when the mobile phone came out years ago, it was some big thing like a dumbbell.
There was a Turaya phone.
Yeah, yeah, massive like a
Yeah,
dumbbell. You can use
yeah,
it for
yeah.
weights.
Yes.
But now with your glasses, you can
Life
do a
has
whole
life
lot
has
of
changed.
technology and innovation. So it never changes. I
Yes.
wonder what the world would be in the next 5, 10 years with AI.
Oh my.
It will be a very interesting.
Even now, it's interesting.
Yeah,
AI has made everyone more efficient. If you know how to use it right, it makes you so
correct,
much more efficient,
correct.
cuts down time that you need to get stuff done.
But there's also a frightening part of it where
What part
you probably
frightens you?
have a deep fake
Oh,
and you don't know who is
you
who
don't you
anymore.
don't know what's real anymore.
Exactly.
But
Or
we
who is talking.
correct.
I might be an AI
Yeah.
now, and all my mannerism will be there, the voice,
No,
everything will
but
be the same.
but that's why it goes back to not being afraid of failing. So let me give you an example. So if you speak and you don't speak in a perfect way, then that shows that you're human because AI does not stutter.
Hmm.
It just goes straight. So at the end of the day, that our fear of failure
Yeah,
becomes what shows our humanity.
correct.
You not being perfect, you making mistakes along the
Yeah,
way, then you can say, well, and let's even take AI aside. People who don't make mistakes, the more mistakes you make, the more mistakes you should, because we all make mistakes, but people hide it.
yeah. You say people don't make mistakes. The only people that don't make
Make
mistakes are the people that don't try at all.
right, and
Yeah,
and some people make mistake and they hide it. Right. So the more you're real, the more vulnerable you are, the more people can connect with the real person. When you can talk about your failures, fine. Some failures are just for you and yourself alone, for you to learn and
correct.
get better. Not
Yeah,
everything has to be displayed in public, but some things that you display and then people can learn from it and get better, and then it shows that you're still human. You're not a machine.
true.
So I want to ask for real life experience, and I'm asking for this because I know the story. There's a story you talked about in your TEDx talk, and you guys, you need to listen to his TEDx talk. It's really phenomenal. He talked about his mother, talked about his experience growing up. You would love it. You talked about how there was this. It was you going on the boat, not you, but your team. There was like a submarine. Do you mind sharing that story?
Oh, I started a business with my brother. We started a subsea business,
Yeah,
ROVs, and the first contract we got, we bought this asset almost $200,000. First job we got, we lost the asset,
yeah,
and it was so devastating.
yeah.
My mom knew about it. He knew how we raised the money and everything. And for us to tell her that we've lost the asset, I said, "Come, this is not home trouble. I've waited." I'm Nigerian, so I like to speak pidgin. Please don't
By all means, I love
you
speak.
know,
I think in pidgin. So
so when they say whether not home trouble, then it means say something there. Yeah, so we lost it. But before, when we got the asset,
yeah,
the right thing to do was to insure
sure.
it.
Yeah.
And we did insure it.
Oh, you did.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
With a friend,
Oh,
through a friend as a broker,
okay.
not knowing that the paperwork was not complete with these guys. And we thought we were insured.
Oh
So when
man.
this thing happened, we said, "Oh, thank
Well,
God
good.
that we insured it before this first job."
Yeah.
And then we went back to the broker and said, "Hey, you know what? Thank God we did this insurance. Call it up and let us do a claim."
And he scratched his head.
Story start.
Whoa.
And unfortunately, that severed my relationship with that guy
Because there's lack of
since then.
trust.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if it was a matter of life or death,
Yeah.
that's how it would have happened.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You must be careful the kind of people around you,
Yeah.
whether you're an employer or an employee. Sometimes people don't understand the criticalness of certain decisions.
Yeah.
As important as an asset being insured is, he took that relationship for granted and he did not follow up to the end.
Probably he didn't think anything was going to happen.
Yeah, but that's why we insure. It's not that we want anything to
Will happen
happen, but we just
just in
want some
case.
kind of plan B
Yeah.
just in case
If
something
something
happens.
happens.
And that's the whole insurance industry. And that's why we did it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if the accident did not happen, if you didn't
Yeah.
lose the whole whatever the RV, if you didn't
Yes.
lose that, you would not have known the kind of person this friend
No,
was.
no, you're not.
Right.
So it was a great revealer.
So how do you choose the people in your, because sometimes stuff
It
has
is
to
it is
happen.
it is very difficult.
It is difficult. Do you have
It
any guiding principles, any value system you use in picking the people around you?
A big one is referral.
Okay. Okay.
Um, a lot of times you cannot hide for too long.
That's true.
You will show up somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Referral.
referrals, people saying, "Hey, you know what? I've dealt with him or I've dealt
Yeah.
with her."
It's good people. Yeah.
You can trust a judgment and a work ethics and all
Yeah.
that. Because I don't think people still look at resumes. I don't know because a lot of resumes can be doctored,
Oh, sure.
but
Someone who's
wh-
worked with you before.
yes, and then during the probation period, you can source them out quickly.
Right.
Yes, you can tell whether this person can bring value
Or not.
to the team or not. And if they can bring value, please let them go as quickly as possible before they become
The problem that you
a
have to deal
problem,
with.
yes, in the organization.
This would this is a segue into another part of the conversation. This podcast is called Negotiation Secrets. And because I teach women how to negotiate, I teach doctors, I go through their resume, their contracts with them and all of that good stuff. And I tell them whatever is not written on paper never happened. So if you talk to them on the phone, they say, oh, we're going to increase your vacation days from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Send an email after and say, hey, thank you for that conversation. Just to confirm, you said we're going to increase. So it's there on paper. So that other guy, that bad guy who you had to cut off, he didn't, there was no paperwork to confirm that you had the insurance, right? It was just
No, we
based on,
signed all the necessary documents. You know, you sign documents, put.
oh, you signed it, but he
Yeah,
didn't push you through.
yes, because the data from the asset you have
Yeah.
has to be recorded, like the model number and all
Oh,
that
that guy
stuff.
did you bad.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
did you
But
bad. It was, yeah, it just okay.
yeah.
But my question is, when you negotiate, what's your number one negotiation secrets?
In my mind, it has to be a win-win.
Ah, okay. What would you describe as a win-win?
Where the two parties live there happy.
Happy?
Yes. And sometimes it has to go back and forth.
Yeah,
But you said something that's critical.
yeah.
Once it's not documented,
It
it never
never
happened.
happened. Yes.
So make sure that no matter how close you are to the person,
Yeah.
whether it's brother, sister, relation, whatever,
You
best
have.
friend, have an agreement in
Yeah.
place. And not just an agreement, if possible, register the agreement in the courts so that it's a legal
It's legal
document.
documents.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because I sign, you sign, yes, but you can take it to the next level where it is now,
Enforceable. Yeah.
yes,
And,
correct.
and so I had another person tell me about this win-win, and she was describing a win-win. She says sometimes a win might be, let's say we're talking about a deal. A win might be you getting 60% and me getting 40%. It's a win-win because of the possibility of having a future relationship where we can still do business in future. And tomorrow the win might be me getting 60% and you getting 40%. And she just talked about how trust is important, how it's kind of like ping pong, where we go back and forth, and the goal is for everyone to get something out of the deal, not necessarily where just one person wins everything. Because some people think, when we talk about negotiation, they start asking me for ways that they would always win, they would always get everything that they want. And I said, even the best negotiator walks away. You can't always get everything that you want. It's
Correct.
just for you to know what your non-negotiables are. You're like, once we get to this point, then there's no deal anymore,
Correct.
right? I want to ask you a question about, based on your everything. I was going to say based on your experience, as if everything is not based on your experience. How do men and women show up differently when they negotiate? Just from what you've seen, if women and men are different.
Um, when people say is a man's world,
Yeah,
because more people, more men are in business, I think they're more used to this um, ability to negotiate.
yeah,
Some women, even though they are so skilled, are even more skilled, they still have some kind of inferiority complex to say, yes, I can do the job, but I might not be given the opportunity, so let me go on a lower level.
yes,
I think you must know what value you're bringing, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter.
correct.
If you're bringing value to the table, then insist on getting what you're supposed to be
Yeah, yeah,
getting. Yeah. So it's not a gender thing, it's value. Because if I were to employ somebody in my company
yeah.
and I know that this lady is going to bring more value than the guy,
Then by all means,
then by all means
eh,
I'm going to employ the woman.
yes.
Yes, it has nothing to do with gender. It's
But 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 if you look, it has nothing to do with it. But the problem there is, you find women not articulating their value as well as men would articulate their value. The man goes there, he's not very qualified for the job, but he's like, I'll wing this thing, and they go there and they can talk and say, but the woman is saying, okay, I need to go get a PhD. After I get that PhD, I need to get another certification just so they feel confident. But men just have that confidence that they
yes.
can just push through,
Yeah,
and
so
then
one of the biggest problem is what people call the
the
imposter
syndrome.
syndrome.
Yes, yes,
Am I worth
yeah,
this role I'm going for?
yes.
And then they're looking for perfection, which is also a trap. Oh, maybe when I get this degree, it will
Then,
prop me more.
yes,
Or I get another degree. And you find out that the degree now becomes a comfort zone for them. So
correct.
they're running, getting all these degrees, but
It's not moving the needle.
it's not moving. Meanwhile, the other guy has no
No,
degree.
but he's like out there, he's
All right.
gaining experience upon
Yes,
experience, and
yes.
he's
So
developing
a lot
a
of life is
reputation.
about confidence.
Yes,
It's about courage. You find people all around you that are not as smart as you, but they are making things happen.
they are.
It's courage. They're ready to take the risk. The worst that will happen is a no. But what if it becomes a yes?
Yeah. To
So
have
women must look for a way to develop that that courage trait.
How do they develop it? How do you so
Hanging around people that are also
confident?
courageous and confident.
I agree with you 100%.
Yes, it's
I agree, because I used to think I am courageous to a large extent. I would like, what's the worst that could happen? I would do what I need to do. Then I was talking to a lady. Her name is Noshin. She was on the podcast, because for me, I would tell myself, what's the worst that could happen? As long as I have food, clothing, and shelter, I'm ready to take the risk. And then she said, even without food, clothing, and shelter, take that risk. I was like, oh, that's a good one. Because she took my level of courage from here to another level, where
yes,
for her, she's ready to
yes,
risk everything, even survival, to go for her dreams. Mine was like, okay, as long as I have survival, then I can start going from that to more. But she's like, no, you don't, even if you have nothing, you should be ready to push on for what you want. And that's just, it just expanded my mind more. And it goes on to, it's in line with what you're saying. You hang around people who are courageous, and then you
correct.
learn from their courage.
Yes. As I say, courage is not the absence of fear.
No, you just do it.
Do it irrespective of
Of
the
the
fear.
fear.
A lot of the people that have created all these great companies globally, if they tell you their story where they started from,
Right.
some of them for years they were just lying on the mat on the floor.
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter because the vision and the goal is bigger than all
It
where you're
was,
coming from.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes,
that pushes you, that pushes you. That
yeah,
so many times in businesses you run out of cash flow,
yeah.
but you still
But
show up.
you still wake up in the
You
morning
still
and you
wake
keep
up and show
going.
up.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you keep
So
going.
that
Yeah,
consistency and that courage to continually show up
yeah.
is what separates the boys from the men.
So am I a boy or am I a man now?
I don't
I'm
know.
a woman.
Are you scared? If nothing makes you afraid or scares you, then you're a man.
I don't want to be a man, Joe. I want to be a
No,
woman.
it's not
I
a
know what
man
you
as a
mean.
man.
I know what
Yes,
you mean. I'm just
yes,
messing with,
yeah.
I'm just messing with you. You know, sometimes when you have that dream that's bigger than you, then it makes you even when you don't
It
have
must be
food.
bigger than you.
Yes, even when you don't have food, clothing, or shelter, it's still you're still okay. It's not like you're not aware of your current circumstance, but you are, but you keep going because that is like fire in your bones that it just keeps you going. Like when I moved to America, I had just $250. $250 would not give you room, clothing, and shelter. But I'm like, you know what? I want to go get that American dream, and it was bigger. It was a dream that was way bigger than me and the resources
Correct.
that I had. But I think I got my American dream, and I'm
Fantastic.
here for the Dubai dream.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So it's the same way.
Yes.
Let the dream be so big that it is worth it, even when
Yeah.
things are very, very tough.
Yes.
Because when it does happen, you'll be able to write the story and say, hey,
Correct.
you know what? And you'll
Correct.
be able to teach other people that are in that same situation that you were a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
that you know what is the same.
Yeah.
Just keep showing
Just
up.
just keep
Keep
showing
showing
up.
up.
Yes.
And if you're lucky, you have fantastic, beautiful people around
And
you.
you,
Your
then it
support
becomes
structure,
easier.
it becomes easier. And I'm not talking about money.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes money is
Yeah.
the last thing that you need.
Correct.
You need
It's
people
just
who would
that.
nurture your idea and tell
Yes.
you can do
Yes.
it.
Correct.
You know. So Joe, what do you want your legacy to be? So when we think about you, what do you want us? When people think about Joe, what do you want that legacy to be?
The one that had the audacity to try when other people did not try.
Ooh,
And the legacy is to help those coming beside me to know that it's possible.
that's possible.
Yes,
You know what? I think you're already doing that.
I think so.
Yeah. What last nuggets, words of advice, or wisdom do you want to leave with my audience?
Right. Life is a marathon, not a dash.
Mm,
So pace yourself. Don't
mm,
put yourself under unnecessary stress to want to achieve um, success in one day. No, it takes time.
he does.
And then if you want to build something solid, your foundation needs to be more solid to be able to carry what you're trying to build.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's the little I'll drop with you
Oh
guys.
man, I wish you dropped it earlier so we could expand on that. Joe,
Unfortunately, those are my last words.
you're not gonna let any. Okay, after I started it, I said your last words, right? So it's on me. I've enjoyed talking to you.
It's been a pleasure too. It's been a pleasure.
So let me do my call to action. So my call to action is usually based on something you've said that I would want my audience to go try. So there's something you said that really stood out with me. It's, well, maybe two things, many things, but I'll just take two. I was going to take one, but I think I'll make it two. Number one was to show up consistently, just like the golf, just keep hitting that ball and find your rhythm, find your style, find what works for you. My rhythm might not be yours, just rhythm might not be yours, but you could just keep showing up. You could learn something from him, you could learn from me, but just keep showing up and keep doing better, and then be bold. If you're female or male and you're not bold enough to ask for what you want, just giving you the audacity to go ask for what it is you want. Be bold, put yourself out there, and then see how things turn out for you. And then my second call to action is I want you to like this video, share, subscribe. Let's create a community of people who are master negotiators, so people do not take us for granted, so we can live the life that we truly want to live. And then last but not least, you know how I leave you guys all the time, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart, that you all have the potential to be great. And greatness differs for everybody. But what I want you to do is go be great. Thank you for listening. Joe, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.